members of E-Frag any room to work with there, and I think only lost like maybe, I think at most like 2 or 3 rounds in that entire second half, and then ended up closing it out in their favor pretty heavily there. So considering that, now we're gonna head over onto cash. A lot of the big issues really for both teams was the overall sort of underwhelming use of utility. When we take a look at the T sides for both of these teams, there was a lot of events on both Titan and E-Frag, a little bit more prevalent on E-Frag, but we saw it a couple times from Titan too, where they tried to go for just these blind direct takes without really using any sort of flashbangs or smokes or whatnot to really make a lot of progress and get themselves into the site to begin with. They would just rely on purely their aiming power. And obviously, again, that was only going to get you so far, as we saw, again, really good setups for the CTs. But the thing I was most impressed about with E-Frag, specifically on their own CT side, was just how good their movement was in trying to close in and pinch the members of Titan. There were so many times where they set up these just aggressive pushes and were absolutely able to destroy Titan with them, and they just did not catch them at all. So this is a big reason why they came back, but the T side fell short very, very largely, and that's part of the big reason as to why they eventually fell behind, and it allowed Titan to pick up the first map. But now we're here on map number 2, and things have been reset, of course. So with both of these teams, considering what went wrong in the first map, they can hopefully take a second for themselves and recenter. Now to try and pick up map number 2 here. If E-Frag take it, then we'll go to map 3, but if Titan claim it, then the set will be over, and Titan will be moving on to the next phase of the event. But Dreamer, holding that little tight angle there, starts himself off well by picking up RPK here. That's going to be able to drop him. We can see Victor holding outside here, but he's not going to get any action as of yet, as most of the pressure from Titan is already in the site. Very quick on the take as they use that smoke instead of CT main, and E-Frag again playing for pretty much a retake strat here, as they actually yield full control of the site very early on. There's a great nade that comes in and gets some good damage over onto Existence to bring him down to 37, but as they work their way in, there's Dreamer and Spy Leader finding 2 more. Dreamer finding a 3rd for himself as he works his way back in now, and Shock's trying to hold this one off, picking up the first one, looking for another one, but he's decked to the floor by Bubble. And obviously, NKL already halfway through his defuse by the time that he's killed. It's going to be a clean retake that comes out there from E-Frag. Again, good pressure from Titan to get into the site so quickly, but it's kind of handed over to them. And that's going to be a clean retake that comes out for the members of E-Frag to start themselves off well on the CT side, picking up their first round and being able to grow upon that here. 3 MP9s being invested upon here by the CTs in the second round, and obviously again the 2 rifles as we normally expect as well. So kind of expensive on the SMGs, but we'll see what they can work with here, as we do see a couple extra pistols being bought up here by Titan. Titan actually going to take this one pretty lightly, however, because of the fact they do get this plan in the first round, they'll be able to go for a buy on round number 3. They sit back and they take this one. They're basically going to let E-Frag walk over them in this round. Maybe try to get a second plan for some extra cash, but with the way that this is going right now, probably are not going to be expecting that to happen. Just Existence along with RPK as the final 2 left alive. Thankfully, Existence is able to pick up Shock's Deagle, so they have that going for themselves at the very least. But he's already down at 43 HP, so it's not like he's going to just miraculously turn this around and pick up 4 kills with the Deagle. And at this point, too, from the side of E-Frag, just trying to hunt down those couple of the final players. The big key here for Titan in this round would have been trying to basically get as much damage as possible onto the CT side so that they can force the rebuys and keep their money low when we go into that 3rd round forced up. But it doesn't look like they're really going to accomplish that goal too heavily. Not exactly sure how the way the sound works out, but Bubble might have been able to hear these players in middle, so I think they know the pressure's coming. Victor is set up. He's going to be watching both the A-main push and, to some degree, the highway push, too. And NKL inside of Squeaky, so if they move in from here, if they're not expecting him, he could just wrap right out and absolutely destroy these players. But that's actually going to be Existence. Another Deagle kill, able to pick up Victor. And very quickly after that one, we see NKL coming outside of Squeaky. He was definitely the swing player there. He's going to be able to catch both of the remaining players from Titan off guard, and again, prevent any more damage from going on to the CTs. But again, like I said, not too bad around there, considering they drop at least 2 with a fairly minimal investment. The only really big buy they have going for themselves there is going to be that Deagle. But beyond that, they still managed to pick up 2 kills with just B250s, and now they're going to have full AKs in their hands, where you still have a FAMAS sitting in Victor, and for NKL as well. He's sitting on an MP9, so sort of speaking, we are looking at Titan a little bit stronger. But when it comes to the utility, obviously, the members of E-Frag still hold a very, very large advantage, and that's still going to be working against them here as they try to work very, very slowly for this take. E-Frag have a lot to use to try and hold these players back and throw them off as they eventually go for their push. Right now, leaning towards an A take, but making a lot of noise, so this just could be, again, to try and throw them off a little bit and then just switch things around and go back over towards the B side instead. Shox is taking up a position inside Squeaky, however, and with mid being thrown out a little bit here, they might have no other option, considering they're already set up for it. Just decides to just go directly in. And look at all the pressure from middle, specifically coming out from E-Frag right now. You can see the amount of players they put into it. Bubble tries to go for the blind spray out of here. He's not able to pick up the kill, and then RPK finding a second one as well as he picks up the headshot over onto Victor. Spy Leader rolling out though. Shock's trying to find some frags. He picks up one. Smith's finding a second on NKL. This brings it down to a 2 versus 1 at this point, with just Dreamer alive, but there's no bomb control maintained by the T's. They've lost it back over towards middle. So they're gonna have to move in and try to pick this back up, and they're not expecting Dreamer to be inside of Z. He's gonna find that first kill over onto Shocks, and now it's the standoff to end the round here. Smith's looking to close it, but he's not gonna be able to do so. The clutch from Dreamer. He closes it out and keeps E-Frag flawless so far, 3-0. Some good damage has gone on to the CTs, and this is going to force some money buyouts here. As we can see, while Victor goes down, Bubble's probably going to have to go down very, very low. Same story for Spy Leader. A lot of very weak amounts of money on the members of E-Frag. But for Titan as well, they have to go for a fairly preservative round. Tech 9 armor. They are seeing a Deagle armor buy on Shocks once again here too. RPK actually not buying up anything at all, except for that CZ and armor, which he just goes for now. Just a little bit late to the buying party. So these guys are going to go for a little bit more of a buyout. I might be able to get some damage onto these players, but in terms of round win, not necessarily sure if I expect it as of yet. The only sort of ace in the hole that they're going to have for themselves is that there's only one player defending the ace site right now, and he's already used all of his utility, and Kale's going to have nothing to hold back the pressure from Titan right now. They all just sort of waterfall outside of A main. And Shocks, Spy Leader 2, are going to get hit pretty heavily here at the beginning of this one. They do the double stack walk out there. It doesn't really work out so well. RPK, though, I'm corrected a little bit there. Picks up that first kill. Scream finding a second one over here onto Spy Leader, as he's going to be able to take him down too. And Shocks looking for more. Should have been able to spot those 2 players pushing in from truck, but he's actually going to be watching out for a flank. Now that he's gotten that intel out to his teammates, everybody on Titan is very, very low right now, so they have to be extremely careful about the way that they play this. And Shocks, and he's very, very lucky there that Victor ended up going for a reload in that current timing. Dreamer's going to try to press himself forward. He'll find that kill into RPK. Gives away his position, but this retake is moving in very slowly. Smith will give himself away, and now moving in there. Shocks just going ham with the Deagle. Unloads on Dreamer. Shuts him out, and Titan on their eco are going to be able to pick up their first round for themselves and now split the scoreline up to 3-1. We're talking about this before. This is going to put E-Frag's money down very, very low. They'll still have a couple rifles in play as they'll try to force things up right here, but that's all they're going to have. They're going to be a very, very weak buy from the CTs, and now Titan are in a prime position to try and claim a round for themselves once again and bounce them back into this game. So now Existence just pressuring outside of middle, very, very haphazardly too as he moves his way out. Finding Bubble, looking for Spy Leader, but that feels a little bit harder to work towards, especially now that he's losing and down to 27 HP. He's got to be very, very careful about himself. Dreamer trying to push in there, but RPK has a really good position against Dreamer, so they're going to be able to shut him out of the play. Now leaving 3 left alive from E-Frag. It's going to be Spy Leader, Victor, and NKL. And all 3 of them are going to work their way back in towards it. Got the full 5 from Titan. And Shocks getting shot by Smith for some reason. That I really don't know why. But obviously Titan know that they've got this round of the bag at this point, so the members of E-Frag have camped themselves inside of A main. Titan moving out, trying to hunt down a couple of them if they can find them. But with all of them stacked inside of A main, I imagine if they do pick up on them, probably not going to aggress pretty heavily towards their current choice of defending position. So we can see Smith's moving his way back out over here. Hasn't seen anything inside of that room as of yet, but I have a really bad feeling he's going to walk in here and get a nasty surprise in a second as he tries to move in towards it, and, well, there we go. Now he's found out where they are. Shocks had actually managed to pick up one of these players, too, and this is key because they're still on those rifles, and they 4-spot here, so that's another rifle that comes out of the hands of E-Frag here in this next round. They're not going to have as much of an impact here. You're looking at 2 rifles, so at an even split, you're looking at a solid defense of the B site, or just an okay defense of either of the A or the B site by putting only 1 rifle onto either of them. And for Titan, again, Existence actually is still using that Galil right now, whereas the rest of now either picked up M4s off the CTs or upgrades to their AKs, but Spy Leader gets super aggressive in this round, not only able to pick up Shocks and RPK, but also able to keep himself alive for now. He's brought down very, very low, and Spy Leader is going to eventually burn alive. Existence finding a trade as well there as he takes down Dreamer, so this has been evened back out very quickly by the T's. Now they've got to try to find a way into this B site, though, which they yet have not been able to do, and MKL, as soon as this molly fades away, he's going to be pressuring himself inside that room there, too, coming in through the vents. Existence is watching out for exactly this type of play, but he's so low right now that it should be an easy closeout. There we go. NKL drops Existence. Victor finding a second on a Smiths, and now it's just over on the Scream now. He has managed to sneak his way inside the site, and he's got a little bit of bomb control to work towards as well. 50 seconds left, and Scream has not yet given himself away, but as he moves himself in further and further there, trying to find Victor, he's seen him up on top, and finding the headshot there to take down Bubble, waiting for that repeat to come out from Victor, but he does have to be very, very cautious as well of NKL moving himself back in through the vents. He's actually going to fall away from this and go for a rotation towards A instead. Hopefully he can throw off the members of E-Frag, but more than likely they're gonna catch on to this. And Victor trying to investigate back down now towards that main CT area. They haven't actually seen this yet, so he's gonna get the plant pretty confidently too. There's even reasonable doubt to believe he might have snuck into the B site there at this current time, but they should be able to hear it. And they should be able to know that it's not coming in, but they still have no clue what's happened right now. They still think it's here in this site. They still haven't realized. They just now figured it out. Victor's going to check the other one. Same story for NKL. Oh, they've realized this so late, but Scream as well at 14 HP. He's not in a good position at all right now to try and work this, so he's going to try to hold himself up. What is going on with my camera right now? Scream's going to try to hold this, trying to pick up that first bit of damage over on NKL, but he's being wrapped around, finding that first headshot, and the second one shuts out NKL in a huge clutch and mind game coming out there from Scream. Clutches the round and keeps Titan back into this game, now tied it up at 3 rounds. And instantly, E-Frag once again now have to go for yet another save as they still don't have enough money to confidently go for a buy, but they're gonna force it up again! Pistols and armor, that's the biggest thing they have. Spyleader's the only player with a rifle. Why would they force it here? So that's an interesting choice being made by E-Frag. Again, I guess they're assuming that they can get enough damage into the members of Titan that it's worth it, but they're getting less and less M4s every single round. 2 rounds ago they had 3 M4s. Last round they had 2 M4s. Now they've only got 1, and it's completely rebought too. It's not even like they saved it. So this is not going to look good, to say the least, from the members of E-Frag, but they started off well. Victor picking up that first kill. It's traded back out, though, and then there's Shocks. So closes the door on himself. There's Shocks finding a second kill over on towards NKL. Already full A-site control being gained. They still have that pressure coming back in over here from the truck, so I wouldn't necessarily say actually full site control as of yet, especially considering the one that is going up against them is the one with the rifle. So now they're going to push their way in towards him. This buy again makes some semblance of sense, but they're going to need to win it if they really want to make this as impactful as it could possibly be. Spyleader, though, has himself in a really great position, pushing in, catches Scream mid-reload. Now he's pinched them. They're both stuck in quad corner. They should have this round in the bag, but Existence now trying to hold off his own ground here. There's a deagle against him in the form of Bubble just around. Both are coming back in from Truck right now, trying to let up the headshots, but he takes 2 at once, and that's not going to be great. Only manages to finish off one of those players. Bubble's going to get the other trade there. Still plenty of time, of course, for Bubble to pick up this defuse. He's going to grab it. And once again, E-Frag, after 4 spying for 3 rounds in a row, finally one at least pays off for themselves here. Only 1 rifle in play. They would clutch it out against Titan, retain their lead just before they were about to lose it as well. But the problem now becomes that they've allowed Titan to stack up a little bit more cash too, so they'll be able to respond to this one with their own rebuy. The only exception is going to be Shocks, but they can probably toss him a Tech 9, or he himself can probably buy up a Tech 9 now. So actually, no, he's dropped the full AK from someone else, so still 5 full AKs coming out from Titan, and this is not necessarily E-Frag getting into the clean just as of yet, or the green, I should say, just as of yet. In fact, they're even in more of a riskier position now because they've got full 5 rifles, but if they drop this one, they go right back to square one with the pistols. And the big story now for Titan is trying to keep their own wins consistent here. They picked up 3 back to back there just a few rounds ago. But the problem was they were very close, despite the fact that, again, E-Frag only really had some upgraded pistols and a couple rifles kind of tossed into the mix there pretty randomly. So if E-Frag are able to perform a lot stronger with those rifles in hands, we could see a much better performance. But so far, it seems the hold is okay here coming out now from Titan as they slowly just inch their way forward inside of this site. Victor, again, not really going to be able to do anything. And the save call already coming back out here from the members of E-Frag as they start to fall away and hide inside of Squeaky. It looks like it's going to be their sort of hidey hole now for this round, as NKL's already sitting inside of it, and Victor probably going to be joining his teammate in just a second as Titan respond right back to it. And again, we go back into that problem that we were talking about before. They're going to have no losing bonus for this next round. The 3 that actually, NKL, along with Victor, both sitting on $50 right now, so they're not really going to be able to drop for teammates like you can sometimes see in these 4-step rounds. Dreamer, Spyleader, and Bubble, they're not really going to have any money either. They're only going to be sitting at around 2 to 2.5k at the most. So it's going to look very weak here heading into the next round from E-Frag. And even for those that are going to be forcing up, the max we'll see is those 4-step pistols with armor sitting behind it once again. And there's the evidence of it. Dreamer, 2800, the other 2, 1950 and 1450. So E-Frag are not in the best position economically speaking right now, but like I said before as well, it's not necessarily like the worst decision in the world for them to force buy. It was questionable when we saw them do it 3 times in a row, but they won a round off of it, so they have some semblance of I guess saneness is the word for it. They have some sense behind what they're doing here now in these force buys. It's just very risky to continue doing it for so long instead of saving up, going for an actual regular buy just by saving 1 to 2 rounds. And then getting yourself the real guns into your hands. But they think that because they have the rifles, they can make as big of an impact as they need. And again, they're not going to be wrong in that starting off this round. They get aggressive inside of A main there by pushing both rifles inside of it. I think they were hoping to catch a little bit more, but they're not going to find anything beyond this opening frag on the Smiths. NKL as well, for that trade, has dropped down to 19 HP. So he's not going to be looking so good here if Shox is able to find him. Well, RPK picking up another kill, and then Shox rolling back in. He's going to get good amounts of A-site control. Holds up the rotation for a little bit longer, but then Victor picking up that second kill too. The problem again now is that they've been locked out of the site. They've only got 2 flashbangs and a smoke to work for this retake here, and that smoke's going to come from Bubble. And in terms of the hold from Titan, they have no clue where these Titan players are positioned, and they're given pretty much all the time they need to get themselves into post plants. Existence is actually a little far off the site, so he's going to try to correct this now as he works his way back in, but look at Scream. Scream doesn't even need the help of his teammates. He just single-handedly closes out that heaven push, and now he's going to shut down 2 out of 3. Victor falling back away from this one now. And obviously, again, he'll be looking to save once again. As E-Frag not having a whole lot of luck with these force buys. So far, they are 1 for 4, if I remember correctly, on winning rounds with them. But they're also, again, they're also okay in terms of killing at least 2 or 3 players in every round, which is not necessarily allowing Titan's money to grow, but it's not necessarily bringing it down either. So it's sort of like a catch-22 in the fact that they can continuously do this force buy time and time again. They're not going to let Titan's money grow. The problem is that they're letting Titan now, that early 3-round lead that they got by picking up the pistol and the 2 consecutive rounds is now floating away from them, and they're still letting Titan pick up so many of these rounds. So this sort of strategy is only going to work for so long, and they finally decided to go away from it now. This is not going to be the force buy for the first time in so many rounds. They sit back, they just take a couple P250s here and there, nothing else besides Victor that he had from the previous round is going to be brought into this one, and they'll just work towards the gun round, which will be happening at round number 11. So they move away from this one. Now Titan is the lead, they're no longer fighting to control the lead of the game, now they're fighting to come back into this one, where they're going to need guns to accomplish this one. Shox will pick up the first kill onto this round, being able to shut out Dreamer here. And now they're working their way back into the site here too, but a great hold from E-Frag. Look at the positioning. They have no clue there's so many players here from E-Frag right now, so if the smokes work out in their advantage, they could do a lot of damage for this one, but they're not really doing anything with this right now, and now they're firing back. They have no clue where Scream is. They managed to spot RPK in his position, but now they're going to push in. Spylater overwhelming, though, with some assistance coming out from Bubble, and NKL picking up a second one here, too. Victor moving in. He finds an additional frag. Now it's going to be down to a 2 versus 1 as RPK finds out NKL back over there by Forklift, and Shox has a great position. If Victor pushes back in over here through Truck, he's going to get Crossfire, and there's no way he's going to find his way through this one. So now moving back, Shox will actually find a nice headshot there to close out upon Victor. Shuts him out of the play. And Titan again will find yet another round leading 4-6, but because of the full save we saw from E-Frag, they can finally go into another buy round for themselves. So, taking a look at now where Titan is going to pressure things this time. Going to try to go directly back over here. Or at least we'll see Shox specifically trying to work his way into the B halls, but the aggression coming out from E-Frag is going to put some good damage onto him. He's able to manage it very well by picking up a headshot back over on the Spy Leader by eliminating him, and the rest of Titan is inside of A-Main and Squeaky right now here as well. They'll press their way into this one. Bubble picking up that shot from Quad Corner, but Scream going to find a response to it. There's Bubble again, lining up at least another kill on his Scream. And very, very low. We're going to be 2 out of 3, the members of Titan 2. There's a great peek from Smiths, able to find Victor. Takes him down once again now. For Smiths, RPK, and Shox, they're looking to hold this one off. Shox is hoping to put himself into a bit of an unorthodox position to hold it, but now it's been brought into a 3 versus 1. I don't think E-Frag are fully aware of just how low they managed to get both Shox and RPK. So Dreamer, as we can see, sitting up in heaven, not even going to be attempting the final retake on this round, even though he had a pretty good chance of doing it. Just without intel or anything, it's not going to be the best. It's not going to be the best course of action for him right now. So he sits back, and again, the save call is made. Try and keep that rifle in the mix. Should be able to do it. No one from Titan really even close to him. So Titan again now looking very, very strong after, like we were saying before, a little bit of a bumpy start. They managed to swing it back, and now already have 7 of their T-sided rounds in their pocket, and probably going to be able to grow it at least up to 8 here with this round. Again, E-Frag, with a very minimal investment, we shouldn't expect too much for them to come out unless Dreamer can perform absolutely beautifully. Titan should have a very simple way to just press right through this once again, as E-Frag have still had a lot of those issues managing their CT-sided economy from all the force buys they were doing earlier. They're now going to have to try and work for a long time here to re-establish and sort of re-solidify it back to where they want to have it so that they can consistently go for their buys. We've already got 2 members of Titan working their way through over here towards middle too. One with the bomb, and then you've got, I think, another one sitting pretty close to him, just judging by the mini-map. Bubble's going to rotate in to put some extra pressure onto A, and this is good too, because it looks like right now Titan are definitely leaning towards that sort of an A push. They're watching out for any extra bits of aggression here. There's actually only one in middle to correct myself from an earlier statement. But they move in. That's going to be a perfect molly that goes back up there towards quad corner. Victor pushing out against it, though, and that actually saves his teammate's life. Later, we do see Scream traded out, but again, Bubble finding another kill onto Scream. Existence picking up an additional pickup over here on the Spy Leader now. Keeps things back down and even into a 3-on-3, but Dream moving himself back in. Catches Smith completely off guard. There's another kill for him, but RPK still strong on the trades. The pressure is now coming back in from A-Main, though, a Dreamer. As we were saying before, we need to see a Dream performance from him, and he's picked it up. Victor closes out that final kill, and Dreamer now going to get an op for free as well. That's pretty huge. And E-Frag with a great retake again, win pretty much a full eco round with the exception of that M4. That's going to be great movement and great intuition coming out from E-Frag there. Holding on to control of that A site, rotating their players in at just the correct time. As soon as they spot that it could potentially be coming in towards that site, they move everybody in, and Titan again just push in without thinking there's going to be that much pressure. They're completely unbeknownst to the fact that there's just a huge amount of members of E-Frag that are ready to rock and roll up close and personal too. Was the other thing about it too, was a lot of the kills that come out from E-Frag happen because of the smoke coverage that's in the site. They're able to press in against these members. They have very easy kills to grab with those pistols because the duels are coming so close to them. So now we also see too, as we were mentioning before, because of the free op that is picked up here by E-Frag, Bubble now finally has this. He's never picked up this op as of yet, unless maybe like 1 or 2 times, but I actually don't remember seeing it before. So this is going to be the first time, at the very least in a while, that we've seen him being able to pick up that op, and that's going to be a pretty big deal now, as he was making some pretty good progress with that back on Dust 2 as well. And this could finally bounce E-Frag back into this game, and at least try to wrangle this up to an 8-7 at the very worst for E-Frag. We'll have to see, though, if that'll be the case, because Titan is looking very strong here, too. But they've been making their own amounts of mistakes. The problem on the last map was not enough utility, and this time it almost seems like there's too much utility, which is allowing E-Frag to pick up these eco rounds. To start things off, Victor holding himself strong, picking up not 1, but 2 frags over here on both Scream and Existence. Spy Leader finding a third. Shock's trying to turn the tables back around, but might be a little bit too late here now. Seen that great hold coming back over towards middle. They're starting to pinch the final player too. Smith's one with the op now has pressed himself outside. He's completely blind, so that's a perfect pop flash from Victor. And then just simply closes things out there. Could have had the double op set up too if they wanted to, but Victor actually going to shy away from picking that up for the time being. And it's just going to keep his AK for now as he's traded that back out. But for Titan, now starting to run a little bit low on their own funds of cash. They'll go for another force buy here. 2 Tech 9s on both Shocks and Smiths. Or apologies, Shocks in Existence. Whereas both Smiths, RPK, and Scream are still able to pick up AKs. Decent, I would say an okay amount of utility too. They're missing smokes on quite a few of these guys. They've chosen to take mollies over smokes. Scream specifically now is actually the only player left on time with a smoke. So they're going to have to try and find their way into this site, again, pretty blindly by using mainly only those mollies to force players out of position. So here they go, there's a great pod flash, and this should allow RPK to get in, but no, Bubble's there to cover for it. RPK did pick up the frag on a Dreamer, so they still have a little bit of an open site to work with, but the rotations are coming out so quickly now from E-Frag, and there's going to be Bubble trying to line it up a little bit too early on that shot. It's not going to be able to connect it necessarily, and this allows Existence to get himself on that site with the bomb. No upgrade for Existence just as of yet, so he is still working with a Tech 9, but he's nice up and close against Bubble here right now, but he pushes against it. If Bubble's not ready for it, he's going to be able to shut him down. Good save comes out from Victor there as Bubble misses his shot. Spy Leader finding another one. Now it's just Smith finding that first one, finding a second one, trying to shut these players back out, but he's down at 4 HP. So hard to hold. He finds the third, but Victor just in time on the pressure there before he can adjust his aim. He's going to be able to close that out in the 1 versus 1. Gets a 3K for that round, and now is going to bring E-Frag up to 7 points. So now again we have the pause coming back out this time. Actually, no pause. I thought I saw pause signal, so not the case. So we go right back into it, and Titan is going to force themselves up once again here. Same buy as before. A little bit more utility maybe this time, I think, but for E-Frag, now they've gotten themselves back up to a really good position here too. Not necessarily in the safe spot as of yet, but they've got full utility, and they're able to hold these sites very strong. We've seen evidence of this a couple times in a row now, so now this is where they get themselves into a good position because they've proven they can hold off against this aggression from Titan. But with Titan having a buy like this, we saw just in that last round how close they potentially could have gotten to this one. So they still have to be a little bit more careful. But thankfully, because of members of E-Frag coming out in the clutch time and time again, they're still left in a fairly good position. But look at how close these players are to each other right now. Thankfully, they're all in different positions. A lot inside of A-Main right now. Scream is going to try to push himself up on top, but Victor has an absolutely perfect position to shut him down should he decide to press forward with that one. And he's not necessarily going to find Scream, but he does take down Existence here. Scream moves out. He's going to find the trade to it as he's posted up back up on top of Garage there in Existence. A little bit angry that he got it from that position, as that is an interesting position to play from. But Bubble responds back, finding another kill. We've got NKL, tries to sneak up, oh, onto Shocks, but he not only kills NKL, but then he jumps up on top of Big Red and finds Bubble, takes him out of the play. Now it's down to a 2 versus 1. RPK very, very low at 6 HP, and Shocks not that much better at 47. Thankfully, they find Dreamer very early, and there's Shocks with a tap, finishes off Dreamer and ends the half, this time in the favor of Titan, 8-7, going by their way. And there we have it. Now Titan hold the lead coming off of their T side, and they're going to jump onto the CT side, which is where we saw all of that progress made back on Dust 2. So I think E-Frag potentially, not potentially, I think E-Frag, when we look at the way that they wanted to perform this match, if their T side is not going to be like phenomenally better compared to what we saw in Dust 2, Titan, they have a very good chance of winning out this map. But if there have been some good changes, and again, if they have realized the mistakes they were making on Dust 2, because in a lot of ways, Cash can play out very similarly to Dust, then with those corrections being made here, we can see E-Frag bounce back. There are some very simple things, but Titan's holds on the CT side too were a lot better than their aggression on the T side, so they're going to be a much stronger team over here. And as for E-Frag, they're going to have some work to do to get themselves back into this game, as Titan, especially assuming if they can pick up the pistol round, are going to be in a very, very safe position right now in my eyes. So this second pistol round here starts off very, very slowly, as a little bit of as neither team here really going to make any progress or aggression. T's just sitting themselves just outside of A main for the most part. Gonna get a little bit of boost action going here in a second as Dreamer puts himself on top of it. There is some coverage coming in here from Titan. We've got Smiths in here to defend this. I think he's actually the only player here right now, though. The other two are sitting close by in the B site there, and Smith is going to see all of that, so he doesn't even aggress against it. He knows at least 3 players are pushing out middle, so not even going to try. And this is a couple players moving inside of Z here too, and they're also trying to get themselves through vents. RPK takes the duel, but not counting on Shocks being a second player here. Picking, oh my god, NKL, Spiraler, and a Bubble all end up going down. Victor finding a trade for it at least, but now they've lost bomb control. They've no longer got it, and Dreamer and Victor, they're going to try and find their way back into this one. Dreamer might have been able to see Shocks here, finally putting him down before he can do any more damage. And now Victor here too, trying to move in with his teammate, trying to find those final 2 players, but they've got a crossfire inside of Checkers. They move in, Existence, picking up that first one. Victor finding a trade, but Smith is sitting behind. He's going to be able to finish things off. Takes them down, and there we have it now once again from Titan. They remount that lead, and they're going to be able to hold on to it here, assuming we don't have any problems coming out from E-Frag with the second round force-up. They might go for it too, or I should say there's a pretty good chance that they'll go for it, considering they don't get a plant in round number 2, but they could technically still save and force it up, but might just be focusing on the round number 4 anyway, now that they haven't gotten the plants. This is actually going to be a full save from E-Frag. Nothing being bought up at all. Not even any armor or utility this time, just the Glocks, so very, very light, and their first attempt picking out these players not going to go so well. They do manage to get the dink over there on a Shocks, but he'll still take them down. And NKL waiting just inside of Squeaky too. He can hear Scream's gonna roll in, but that pop flash is a little bit mistimed, so Scream's not necessarily gonna go into Squeaky as well as he had planned to. And Shocks here too, looking for some more heads, but RPK now moving in. They're gonna try to close out Bubble, and RPK being brought down fairly low at 43, so some okay damage being put out here by E-Frag without really any kills coming out. We can't call this. Well, oh, they did a good job with, you know, getting some damage on these players. Maybe a kill? No? Alright. Nothing coming out from E-Frag that time. They do bring Smith's RPK and Shocks fairly low, but again, not getting close enough to get a kill onto anyone from Titan, so that's still a very good round. And the third round force, which we did call before, is not necessarily going to be that well placed, because they won't really have anything to get themselves into the site with this. And Titan are, I mean, you just look at them, they're armed to the teeth. They've got full utility. And not only this too, they are still downgraded to some degree, so with the guns, just talking specifically about those, E-Frag are technically speaking in a better position, but the problem becomes with the amount of utility that Titan have, just how much impact are E-Frag going to be able to have. And again, when you think about the flashes and whatnot too, that Titan are going to be able to use against E-Frag, the gun factor doesn't necessarily become as important anymore, especially if you can get players like Shocks that are going to be down on the UMP into a good position, like holding the close corner, which is exactly where he's going to right now. If well-timed flash and whatnot, he can just roll right in there and absolutely dispatch everybody with no trouble whatsoever. So Titan, again, Shocks is going to work his way in here. Doesn't necessarily spot Dreamer initially, but is going to be able to find the correction for that one and takes him down. Then we have Scream pushing in to find Spylater. NKL is going to try to sneak out, but he's found out too. And again, this force just does not go the way that E-Frag wanted it to at all. Bubble's not the last one alive. As he tries to work his way back inside of A main, he's been flashed out, so he's going to be held back even further now. And we'll slowly see him getting pinched upon here by the members of Titan. He's going to try to hold back, and I imagine just try to get as much economical damage out into the members of Titan as possible. And look, Titan are baiting him a little bit, like, look, I got a gun, come get it. But he's not going to grab it, he's just going to sit back with that Galil, and Smith will close him back out there. And that will be Titan again, picking up now their 11th round. E-Frag still sitting a little bit further behind at 7. And after a 3rd round force, they'll have to go for a full save so they can buy on the 5th round of the second half here. Tech 9 armor investment actually coming up from these players. So they're just about in the full losing bonus. This isn't that well. This isn't that misplaced, I should say. This does make sense in terms of the course of action. If they'd full suit, they could have immediately gone for the other buy. But for this one, they should. Trying to think of the way the money works out, but they should still be able to get a decent buy coming into the next round anyway, even despite the fact they're doing this. So to start this off, Scream's gonna burn NKL alive, and then Shock's finishing off 2 players. And yeah, that round just ends. Not really a whole lot to add to that one, besides Titan just having too good of a setup. And members of E-Frag just walking into that molly. So if E-Frag want to force again, they can here. They could, like I said before, they can have a semi-decent buy with AKs and Galils and whatnot, but still not going to have any utility, which has been a big problem. This was a big problem for them on Dust 2, and it's sort of becoming a problem for them here on Cash again as well, because they don't really have an amazing amount of smokes and whatnot to set themselves up, and even when they do, the other problem is they're not really holding back enough to let Titan use their own utility. They're playing these rounds fairly straightforward, and they're basically just walking into the members of Titan, so they're going to work their way back into this one. RPK holding 2! That's a one-and-done spot. The fact that he gets 2 is impressive in itself. Existence will find a 3rd. Dreamer finding 1 at the very least here coming out from E-Frag. He picks up a 2nd on his Shocks, but now he's only got that position to hold in this entire map. They're even being pinched upon now by Smith, so even if he wants to retreat, he's going to have to deal with Smith a little bit further back in the map. There's Scream again, getting some good damage onto him, bringing him down to 64. And again, we can see that Smith has that flank position. That's going to be the big key thing here. If he does actually make some progress and push inside of checkers, is he actually going to expect a player to move up from behind him, which I'm not really thinking it right now. He's actually waiting for regression to come out against him and himself. For Titan, they're just trying to box him in, which they're doing really well right now. That Molly just out of position. Actually using both mollies in case he did fall back. I don't know how he would have gotten past Smith, but this is not the case. Now working his way out, tries to get past Scream, but not going to happen. Takes him down, and there we have it again. Now Titan up to 13 rounds, and so much money being built up for the CTCR2. This is not what E-Frag wanted. Oh, E-Frag are buying again. No! Stop it! So they'll go for the buy again on the T side. This is unfortunate because now it's going to displace their buys. If they saved here, here's the thing that, like, and again, I'm not really in any position to judge the buys and whatnot from E-Frag, but if they saved here, they could have a full buy against Titan with an op if they want it. But now they've chosen to buy here. They're not going to have enough money for a really good buy. This one's okay because it has a little bit more utility about it, but if they saved here, they would have a really good buy on round number 14, and that would be like a last chance to stop it. But if the problem is if they lose here, they then basically let Titan get up to 15 points, and they have to win however many in a row. There is like a catch-22 to it, where if with this okay buy, they manage to win this one, then obviously they'll be a little bit closer, and Titan will still be a little bit further away from winning. But again, the buy that they would have in the next round would be a lot safer to work towards. So I guess they're just assuming that the buys don't matter at this point, and they're just like, well, as long as we can get rifles into our hands, we'll try and work it. But so far, that's just not panning out so well here for the members of E-Frag. And KL, though, finally able to make some progress for himself and the rest of his team as he moves in from Squeaky, picking up those 2 kills and bringing this into an even situation and towards a 2 versus 2. RPK and Shox moving in, but not even checking that corner. Dreamer's backward pedals right into the headshot there for Shox to finish him off, and now it's just NKL. He's inside of A main still, and Shox may end up giving him a bit of a 1 versus 1 duel, which he could win there, but he's actually going to wait for RPK to move in a little bit here, because he knows he's over here towards Highway, so trying to line up that headshot, but he looks away, probably the worst possible time, and now he's giving him the angle he needs. Not only this, but Shox in the quad corner, has it lined up. As soon as he peeks that corner, he's a dead man, and although there was a little bit of hope there for NKL to clutch that, now it's gone away, and Titan, again, we'll see the force from E-Frag, but it's going to be even worse than last time. Still the same general buy with 2 AKs and 3 Galils, but less smokes, less flashes. Nothing to work with here, so it's just the same buy every single round from E-Frag, despite the fact that they're now in full losing bonus. It doesn't matter, because we're not getting any plants or anything. It's just not going to work out that well, unfortunately. So they're actually, ooh, this is risky now because they do take a little bit of damage from doing it, but they're going to be able to get themselves up on top of it there. Some fire comes back outside of A main. Shox again will find the first kill over here on these players as Victor, I think, tries to push himself outside of the mid garage, but is not going to be able to find anything there as he's, well, he's killed by Shox. And they already have a 3-man sit up here onto the A site. Very light on B, so if they did decide to go in towards there, they would have a little bit more luck keeping it only to existence with an op to defend it. But again, they're trying to push in towards A main, and that's going to be stopped. Not only this, but this is just getting I hate to be so negative, but this is just getting sloppy at this point here from the members of E-Frag because now they've let the bomb lead the charge into A main, and they've dropped the bomb here now too. They're going to get it back, thankfully, but the problem is that they've been revealed here, and NKL actually might just be able to turn this around. It's sloppy, but they're managing it somehow here from E-Frag as they pick up another kill. Goes on to a member of Titan. They even it out to a 3-on-3. They still, not necessarily sure if they realize this as of yet, but they still have to work against the op from existence too. If they did decide to go into B, they're actually going to flank this around once again. Try to push up against RPK. He's going to be found in the open. They finally shut him down, but look at Smith. Nobody's found him. There's one shot looking for the second one. He's going to find it. Can he get the third? And he does it! Smith's closing it out single-handedly. Now puts Titan up on the match point. And now we have it here. E-Frag again, obviously going to force in the final round. I hope to God they're going to force in the final round. No. Okay, they're going to force in the final round, but it'll be the same buys that we've been used to. There's an extra HE, that's the only thing that's changed. And then again, it's the same 3 Galil, 2 AK buy. And I imagine this one will just go pretty straightforward. Bubble even trying to watch out for aggression here now too, as he waits for somebody to push back B halls. That won't be happening. These players now putting themselves inside of A main here. Trying to find a way out from that one, but if I were them too, I'd be pretty flustered at this point because unfortunately there's just not a whole lot they can do that'll work out properly for these players. Titan have been shutting down almost every single thing they tried to push. It's a bit of their own fault because they haven't left themselves, as we've mentioned many times now, they haven't left themselves with a whole lot of utility and whatnot to work a lot of these takes with. They've got like, you know, 2 smokes and whatnot. It's okay, you can do a semi-decent setup with it, but without really mollies or flashbangs or anything, you can't do the slow take. You have to do a direct take, and that's exactly what Titan is building to try and stop right now. So it's just not going to work out. If they walk in without any prior info or any info gathering or anything like that, they're just going to get shut down by the members of Titan. And this is what's happening here. Smith, after Dreamer picks up 1 kill, Smith trades out 2 more after that one. Dreamer and Spy later get taken down. Got the quad corner hold coming out from Shox, but he's not going to find too much progress with that one. Now we can see Smith trying to wrap around, but Victor picking up another one, and Bubble picking up an additional frag as well. Now places this into a 1 versus 3. E-Frag are not out of this game just as of yet. In existence, though, he's going to move in for this clutch. He'll want it. He's going to try to take it. He's sneaking in right now, trying to see if he can grab NKL in quad corner. Victor's not necessarily set up to try and counter him, so he's going to be able to sneak back here successfully. The big question is he going to catch him? Nope, rolls in, picks up the first and the second kills, and now you've got Bubbles so far away, he can just stick this defuse, and he's got it. 5 seconds, Bubbles trying to roll him. Can he beat him in time? He might have him. He's trying to get against him, but can he see him? He ducks, and no! Titan, they're going to get the ninja to end it. Existence will close it out there, and Titan will win the second map 16-7. And they will win the set 2-0 as well. So that's going to close out our first set for today, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations, of course, to Titan. But for E-Frag, they are not done just as of yet. They're going to have another match coming up here in about an hour and 20 minutes. We'll have our second match, guys. That's going to be efrag.net taking on Navi. That'll be starting at 21 CET, so stick around for that. We'll be back in a little bit with it. If you're not going to be doing so, and if you've enjoyed the cast, you can go ahead and follow me over on Twitter. I'm at BLUCSGO. Perfectly up to you, of course, but beyond that, thank you guys very much for tuning in, and we'll be back in just a little bit with the next match here between E-Frag and Navi.